and their conversation with friends and family. As we gather back together, if you can hear me, clap once. I love teachers. But that means don't just clap once. Now it's time to quiet the voices. Children, kindergarten. As we gather back together to continue tonight's incredible program to honor you, I want to welcome the live stream. If you want to wave the cameras back there, we have our live stream guests that are joining us online. It's so great to have people that weren't able to be here in the room join us. Probably even my mother in California. She loves to join in to things that I'm doing in Delaware. Those of you joining online, I want to say welcome to the celebration of Delaware's 2026 Teachers of the Year, a celebration of brilliance, dedication, and hard work, and most of all, celebrating the joy of the teaching profession. Because behind every honoree tonight, we know there is a village of family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, whether you're in the room now or joining us online. Thank you for sharing your loved one with our state, with our children, in our classrooms right here in Delaware. And for those of you that might miss tonight, or you know somebody who couldn't quite be here tonight or watch tonight, don't worry. This is recorded, and you'll be able to share this special evening, and the full program will be available to watch later on the Department of Education's YouTube channel. So if you miss it, don't worry, you can watch it later. I want to recognize some more partners who have made tonight so special as we move into recognizing specifically which is always nice to see. We have representatives from organizations and from businesses and from agencies, colleges and schools alike that are here to celebrate and to uplift the 2026 State Teacher of the Year. So I'm going to start with Aventech, who's represented by Aiden Lewis, for a very thoughtful gifts to each of our 20 honorees. Thank you to Aventech. Are you here? For your gift to each of the 20 honorees. And then a thank you to Jostens. Is Jostens, someone representing Jostens here? Well, we're going to say thank you to Jostens for continued partnership, because what Jostens does is present our state honoree with a beautiful gold ring that crowns this moment for our state honoree. A thank you to Jostens. And a thank you to DelDOT. Our honoree is also going to receive a 2026 Delaware Teacher of the Year license plate. I love that. That's amazing. That is courtesy of the Delaware Division of Motor Vehicles. So if you are seeing someone on the freeway with the Delaware Teacher of the Year, it's a coveted plate. Only one a year is made, and our honoree tonight will receive that. Our honoree will also receive a very meaningful gift from our past State Teachers of the Years. Like I said, we are showering you with gifts. But there's one more. We are really fortunate in Delaware because we have higher education partners who like to stand shoulder to shoulder with us, especially with our educators. Both the University of Delaware and Wilmington University. Let's compete here. Okay. They have offered truly remarkable gifts this year. So, ready for this? You could drum roll if you'd like. Our state honoree will have the opportunity to complete a doctoral degree at either institution at no cost. Woo. And I'm not done. All 20 of our district and charter honorees will receive a complimentary graduate course from Wilmington University. That's amazing. the thing is that type of gift, that type of contribution to tonight's celebration, that's not just about celebrating teachers. That's about multiplying their impact. So please join me now in expressing our sincere gratitude to Todd Hackett Slim and Kay Keister from Wilmington University's College of Education and Liberal Arts for being here tonight. Truly, your steadfast partnership is recognized, and we are very grateful. This is an incredible gift, and I'd like to think of it as a gift that will keep on giving. Isn't that what education is all about? Thank you for that gift. So a final moment now to show appreciation for all of the partners that have showered our honorees with gifts to make the celebration and the success of our education evening possible. Thank you to all of you. So we're getting to the place, almost to the moment we wait for each year, building up to it, because these 20 educators, I have to say, represent the highest standard for our profession. You represent excellence with heart. You represent leadership with purpose. You represent teaching with soul. So I'd like you all now to watch this outstanding presentation that showcases Delaware's best. Dim the lights and roll cameras.
Good evening, and welcome to the 62nd Annual Delaware Teacher of the Year ceremony. Thank you, Voya Financial and the Delaware General Assembly, for the generous support that has made this evening possible. Tonight, we honor 20 teachers representing each of our 19 school districts and the Delaware Charter Network. One will be named the 2026 Delaware Teacher of the Year and serve as the first state's nominee for the 2026 National Teacher of the Year program. But first, let's meet our 20 nominees. From the Appoquinimink School District, Bunker Hill Elementary 4th grade teacher, Allison Suter.
My mom was a teacher for 25 years, and I actually attended the school where she taught. And I think I didn't want to be a teacher at first, but I think just as I got older, seeing the relationships that she grew and the connections that she built with her students was so impactful. And I thought, I really want a job where I can make a difference like that, like she did. I think back to my 4th grade experience, and you remember, how your teacher made you feel. You remember how the students in your class made you feel. But you don't always remember the specific, day-to-day lessons. And I think that's what I try to remember as well. Like, those are important, very important. But the most important and the things these students are going to remember and what's truly going to make them develop as adult humans is that people care about them, that they support them, and that those students feel important and loved. So I'm hopeful that in every classroom I make those students, I push them to do their very best, but I love them throughout it, and I give them that care and concern that they need to truly blossom.
Suter's classroom environment is nothing short of magical, a former student's mother said, adding, her classroom is a space where every student is engaged, seen, and inspired to learn. The mother said her daughter would come home from school brimming with excitement to share what she had learned. That joy of learning is something every parent dreams of for their child, the mother said. From the Brandywine School District, Tally Middle Reading Specialist, Jenna Delaterio.
I think the joy of teaching is in those atomic moments that can easily go unnoticed if we're not paying attention. It's the student coming in and saying, Dr. D, I heard on the news they were talking about the bird flu, and I thought about our class because we're reading about that. Or the student who says, my English is getting better. The student who gave the unexpected hug at the end of the year after some, multiple conversations. It's absolutely a privilege and a joy to be able to experience that with them.
One parent said the connection Delaterio made with her son helped him go from reading below grade level in 3rd grade to an honor roll student, now in his middle school international baccalaureate program. Added the parent, she has remained a valuable resource for me and a steadfast support for my son, in addition to assisting numerous other students. From the Cesar Rodney School District, W.B. Simpson Elementary 3rd grade teacher, Taylor Morris.
I feel like I have this ability to see the potential in students that they may not see in themselves. And so it's really creating an environment where they're willing to take risks, they're willing to try new opportunities, and they're willing to ask for help. And I want to be that person that they can trust, that they can lean into, and that they can understand that our classroom is a fun learning environment, and it's a safe place. And when you provide students with a safe place to learn, they're going to thrive. When you see all of these students inspiring each other, challenging each other, succeeding together, it's rewarding on my end, and it drives me to come to work every day. It drives me to do the research. It drives me to find more resources so I can continue to build a classroom that is supportive, equitable, and acknowledges every student as an individual.
From the first weeks in her classroom, I could see my son changing in the best possible way, one mother said. He came home excited to talk about what he had learned, eager to read and write, and proud of his accomplishments. Ms. Morris has a gift for meeting each child where they are and taking time to make sure they understand, encouraging them to be independent and celebrating their unique strengths. From the Cape Henlopen School District, Cape Henlopen High Director of Bands, Chris Burkhart.
Like, as a music teacher, as an arts teacher, it's such a gift to be in a room where the kids always come in with a thought already. It's very rare that I'm completely introducing, like, hey, you should have a feeling about this. Like, we start to play music and they've got feelings and they want to share them. And they're in that room because they want to be expressive a lot of times. One of the things we do struggle with, though, is dealing with, like, as a high school music teacher, our elite ensembles, sometimes the way grades can be weighted in different places, and with, like, the class rank culture and GPA culture, band will often bring down people's grades across the state because it'll be a 4.0 rather than a 4.6. There's a couple schools doing cool things with that. But figuring out how to get kids' mindsets on, like, I'm focused on learning more than building this resume can be a challenge. And I think a wider cultural view of that and how we put pressure on kids for grades versus learning would be a worthwhile thing for us all to think about in education.
If there is a teacher who demonstrates how commitment sees results, it is Mr. Burkhart, a student said. Whether it is advocating for individuals or the program as a whole, he spends countless hours outside of the school day ensuring that everyone is taken care of. I admire the persistence with which he pursues his goals. From the Capital School District, North Dover Elementary 4th grade teacher, Heather Crow.
Teaching is kind of a legacy in my family. So my mom was a teacher, and she spent her life teaching in the classroom, so I would help her set up her classroom, and I kind of had that love for learning. I remember playing school with my siblings, so I kind of had that love for teaching and, growing up. And it's kind of in our family, so my daughter actually is now a teacher, so that is kind of exciting. So it's kind of it's generational now. She says she follows it because she sees what I do and my passion for it, and as well as her grandmother. So that makes me very proud that that I'm showing the positivity of educators today, because that is hard to show today. That that there are educators out there that still love what we do. So I'm very proud to say that we are very happy. There are educators out there that still love what we do.
One former student's mother said Crow supported her daughter and her as a parent when her daughter initially struggled after changing schools. I am not ashamed to say I was one of those needy parents, the mother said. Mrs. Crow was patient with me and was able to provide evidence of all the progress my daughter had been making in the classroom, as well as on other platforms, and asked me to trust the process. And by the end of the year, the mother said, her daughter was excelling. From the Charter School Network, Newark Charter 1st grade teacher, Katie Moreau.
One of the things I'm most passionate about is outdoor education. Kids don't always see their own potential, and especially not when they're in the classroom, in the traditional classroom setting where they're sitting at a desk and there's rules on the board and there's a there's an algorithm to what you're supposed to look like and do. And when you take that away and you bring them outside, students that might have seen themselves in one way realize, whoa, that's not me. I'm not that person. I'm a completely different person. I can figure out exactly how we can get the most water to come through the canal. I can be the one that figures out the way to get the worms to come out from, underneath of the log. I can be that person. I can have the daddy long leg crawling up my arm because I'm brave. And then all of a sudden, those feelings trickle over into the classroom setting, and you're like, wait, this kid was a completely different kid. When did this change happen? Happened outside.
From the moment I walked into her classroom, I felt a sense of belonging, warmth, and safety, said a former student who is now a high school senior. While Mrs. Moreau was teaching us to read, add, and subtract, she also spread her kindness and warmth to every kid in that class. What made her so special wasn't just her ability to teach, but her ability to connect with every single student in a way that made you feel seen, valued, and understood. From the Christina School District, Shoe Medill Middle Special Education and Mathematics teacher, Dana Fanos.
I had a lot of great teachers growing up myself, and they were always inspired me and made those connections and made school that place to be. And I really valued their encouragement, their belief in me when maybe I didn't believe in myself, and that's something that I hope I can give to other students as well. Provide them with the supports that they need to grow and make those connections with them, to put beside any issues that they may have, and know that there is someone that's in front of them that cares for them and wants them to succeed as much as I want them to succeed. I feel like the students that come back and visit and really share their wealth of knowledge and what they've gained, I hope that they can share that with the students that are around them. It makes me feel great to know that they've remembered enough, or they've found the material's connection to them that allows them to just move forward and be productive members of society, but knowing that, I was able to help them persevere, or even just make that connection that maybe it wasn't even math related, but they knew that if I encouraged them in that moment, they could do that in their science class, their social studies class, or some other real life situation, that there was someone there that was rooting for them, and that they remembered that moment of time and came back and visited.
Fanos' instructional coach said Fanos seamlessly commands her classroom with her presence because all of her students respect her and know the learning is meaningful and relevant. She puts relationships first, holds all of her students to high expectations, and makes math understandable and meaningful to her students in a way I have yet to see emulated in another teacher. From the Colonial School District, Colonial Early Education Program Special Education Preschool teacher, Amanda Kane.
Early childhood caught my heart because my early childhood years were full of ups and downs. My home life was never super steady, but during my early childhood years, all the way up through, second grade, the end of early childhood, I really found a safe place in school. All my teachers were people that I were looking to really keep me safe and advocate for me, and I wanted to be able to create a safe place for young children too. Early childhood is really the foundation of anyone's learning. If you think about a house, you can't have strong walls or strong anything if you don't have that solid foundation. And that's really what early childhood, it does. It instills a foundation of love, trust, and willingness to learn in our youngest learners.
The mother of two former students said, "She is phenomenal and embodies what education truly entails, togetherness for the betterment of children. Amanda has allowed me to share tears of joy, thoughts of uncertainty, and even after-hours vent sessions, while always remaining true to her ideals in suggesting what may ultimately be best for my children." From the Delmar School District, Delmar Middle Social Studies teacher, Casey Bellamy.
We see students as kids, but they're humans as well. So in that setting, I think we all naturally are built to be within our minds defensive of people who we don't trust, or people who naturally seem off to us or inauthentic. And I think sometimes because you're in front of a room of 35 kids and you're teaching your classes, you're not who you are when you're driving down the road listening to music. So I I think naturally if we can blend those together a little bit, you start to see the natural defensive strategies of a human, of like this person isn't being themselves. Some of them go down when a kid sees you naturally talking about something you truly love. Their walls come down and then they can talk about it and you hear them, and it starts to really, like what I was talking about before, those role models, it starts to really like, maybe what would Mr. Bellamy do in that moment? Not, yeah, Mr. Bellamy he was angry all the time and he this. But if you can really see into the human of a teacher, I think the kids allow you to see into them as well.
Mr. Bellamy has been one of the most influential role models in my life, a former student said. Through his mentorship, I have learned the value of hard work, perseverance, and resilience in the face of setbacks. He has consistently emphasized that true success lies not in avoiding challenges, but in how one overcomes them. From the Indian River School District, Long Neck Elementary kindergarten teacher, Amanda Howard.
I've been saying I want to be a kindergarten teacher since I was in kindergarten. If you ask my mom, she says that I started this when I was in daycare. I used to go down to the younger kids' classrooms and try to feed the babies. And they would always take me down and let me do it because I insisted that I needed to take care of the babies. So it's just something that's in my bones and it's in my nature that I just have always wanted to work with children, and kindergarten is just where I thrive. We get the learners that are ready to come into our classroom, and most of them are wanting to learn, and that is so invigorating in our profession, where it's just like you just want to feed into that want and need to learn new information.
Parents of a former student said their daughter headed into kindergarten as a reluctant learner who was very hard on herself. If she didn't know how to do something perfectly, she would often shut down and not try. Preschool ended with a lot of tears when working on reading and writing skills, the parents said, adding that by the end of her kindergarten year, she not only was excelling academically, but had confidence. From the Lake Forest School District, Lake Forest High special education teacher, Joseph Holland.
I have a learning disability. I'm dyslexic and dysgraphic. So when I went through school, I had an IEP. I know the feeling, what it's like to be pulled out of a classroom and put into a separate room with students that needed more supports. So I went into teaching because there's no other voice for these people that have disabilities. And I think that's been a big part of my teaching, is trying to find, kind of close that gap of you can't achieve everything that you want to achieve in this world. You just need to work hard, and I think that I'm kind of a voice to my students for that. And I find often that students with disabilities, we kind of just push them off to the side and say, well, they'll get a job somehow. But it's much deeper than that. They need to feel like they're a part of the community. They need to feel like they're involved in society. And we have this huge gap of workforce that we don't have. And this is an untapped market that we're not encouraging students to go into, or these students to find a place to work in. And I think that's a huge piece of this.
Mr. Holland always goes above and beyond for his students, a student said. He creates opportunities for us to learn inside and outside of the classroom. Last year, he even organized a job internship for me at a hotel, giving me real-world experience that has helped prepare me for life after high school. From the Laurel School District, North Laurel Early Learning Academy multilingual learner teacher, Stacy Puerto.
I didn't just become a teacher to teach in a classroom, but to cultivate a community where every child knows that they matter. So I never really knew that I wanted to be an educator. I just knew that how important it was when my voice was heard and that someone said that I mattered. I was always the child who was very quiet, who tried to disappear in her seat, and I do remember the educators who saw me and told me that my ideas were important and worth sharing. So I would say that kind of sparked my interest in helping others. What I love most about teaching is helping students discover their voices. That's what I'm in it for, to build their belief in themselves. I love creating a classroom where belonging and empathy and growth are at the center. Teaching is such a powerful work, and it inspires what the world becomes next. And I love being part of something bigger than myself.
When you walk into a multilingual learner lesson in her classroom, you will see her making grade-level curriculum highly accessible to students using real-world objects and native language cues, a colleague said, adding, in the community within our district and in the town of Laurel, Stacy is passionate about building bridges among staff, families, and community partners. From the Milford School District, Lulu Ross Elementary 4th grade teacher, Courtney Lee.
I just have always liked kids, even when I was like a younger person. I loved working with kids, like even in daycare, I would help like the little, the littler ones. But the kids bring me back year after year, and I'm fortunate enough to live in the community that I teach in. And so I love that connection. Like I said, I saw my 1st grade teacher out shopping all the time, and I love, like, the other day I was at Chick-fil-A and the guy took my order and then he was like, I was in your class. And I was like, as soon as he said it, I saw that face like in my 4th grade class. And so I just love that connection that you get. Like, it's lifelong. It's so rewarding when they remember you. Like, it's like a little, I don't know, validation, like, oh, I remember you. Our time together was special. So it's all for the kids. I love the community we build every year and like the memories we make and the laughs, and like that's just the best thing for it for me. I just love kids. I definitely think being a teacher is impactful because we are teaching our next generation of like teachers or nurses or business owners, and I think that's like the greatest. Like, if you have a memorable education, like those kids will grow up and come back to our community and pour back into it. And so I think that's one of the most important things we can do is like prepare our next generation to like come back and love our community so it can keep getting better and growing more. I think that's certainly one of the most important things.
Said a colleague whose children also were in Lee's class, I can say without hesitation that she changes lives. She saw the individual strengths in each of my sons and encouraged them in ways that built both their academic skills and their confidence. My children thrived under her guidance, not only becoming stronger students, but also more compassionate, curious, and resilient individuals. From the Newcastle County Vocational Technical School District, St. George's Technical High Social Studies teacher, Jennifer Jansen.
I teach because I love kids. The reason why I became a teacher is mainly because, the first reason was because I loved history and I wanted to teach the kids about history and have them love it as much as me. But the reason why I've stayed a teacher is because I love working with children. I say children, but they're teenagers. But I love working with kids. I like watching them have aha moments. I love listening to them tell me about their exciting stories about homecoming or prom, who they're dating. I like when I can watch them learn and grow as students, get their first shop and just experience high school for the first time. So they make me smile every day. They make me laugh, and it's an enjoyable job.
Ms. Jansen is undeniably passionate about teaching global studies and the subject as a whole, one student said, adding, whenever Ms. Jansen plays music in class, she makes sure to incorporate various genres through both her own research and student recommendations. She plans days for students to learn about other cultures and holidays or present their own. And if a student would like, she lets students present how a subject in class relates to them and their own experiences. In moments like these, she helps students feel seen and understood by their teachers and their peers. From the Polytech School District, Polytech High English teacher, Nora Frank.
I had this one teacher, and many teachers, but the one always stands out. And she just saw me. So I wanted to be that. Like, I wanted to grow up and share that, make other people feel the way she made me feel, but also share that passion and that enthusiasm. So I really feel like, in a way, doing what I do is so affirming for me, because it feels like I'm paying that forward and I'm, contributing to that legacy, which makes me love going to work every day. I have some friends who tell me that, I hate going to work. Like, I don't want to go to work on Monday. I'm like, no, I actually want to go to work on Monday. And I'm not saying it's always easy, but it's always rewarding. Even on days where it's hard, it's rewarding. So I really think it's a calling, and you really have to face it with that positivity to be like, this is something special that I get to do. Not something I have to do, but I get to do it. And I'm just really grateful that I get to do it.
Reflecting upon my son's earlier years in school, he went from being an active and vibrant little boy that loved to read and was full of imagination to someone whose spark dimmed, along with confidence in himself, said one mother who watched her son's love of reading and learning return in Frank's class. She really listened to him. He felt valued and respected through their discussions. From the Red Clay Consolidated School District, First State School General and Special Education teacher, Mary Adam.
Kids with chronic illness, they're suffering enough, and they're going through battles and facing battles that most of us really can't grasp and can't understand. And so I just feel like the least we could do is get them into school and give them as typical of a school experience and childhood as we can. And that's what we do at First State School. I care very deeply. And then, on top of that, some of our students we have year after year. I have some students that are in middle school now that I've had since kindergarten. And our ultimate goal is to help them become medically stable and transition back to typical schools. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. And no matter what, we have the kids at heart, and we have the kids in the forefront of our mind. And yeah, it can become very emotional. We've lost 4 kids in my first 5 years working at First State School. But on the flip side of that coin, I also experienced, a student receiving the news that he got a kidney that he's been waiting for. And I was the first person that he hugged and cried to. When I think about my students, I think about all the things I can give them and do for them. That's 110%. And so, yes, it does make me emotional. I'm sorry. It does make me emotional. But it's through joy and passion is my emotion, not sadness. So.
An 8th grader in her class said Adam does more than just teach. She helps me when I'm upset and at my lowest. If it wasn't for her, I would be somewhere lost in my mind. She clears my head when I don't want to be on earth. Her hugs calm me. She understands me and is there for me every new step or challenge. She's also good at doing her job. She knows when to joke and when not to when it comes to working. From the Seaford School District, Frederick Douglass Elementary 5th grade teacher, Karen Zabrowski.
It's an amazing opportunity to get to show students what they're good at. A lot of times when you're young, you don't even realize the things you're good at. You're like, oh, I can just run and jump and throw this ball in a hoop and it's easy. And then here I am out at recess like, it is not that easy, guys, because I'm throwing the ball and it's going over the fence, So it's really nice to be able to highlight the kids, especially in a moment when they're struggling, and be like, yes, this is hard for you, but here's all these other things that you do so well. You are not just this one thing that you're struggling with. It's very difficult for kids to move through and accept when they're that young. They tend to hyper focus on what is happening in this moment that I'm struggling with, and being able to pull them back and be like, you're struggling right now, but you're great at all these other things. Let's set up some goals that we can do to tackle this so you're not always struggling with this.
Mrs. Zabrowski's best teaching trait is her love and concern for all children, her principal said. Her high expectations for her students is evidenced as you watch her in action. Mrs. Zabrowski cares about her students and is always willing to do whatever it takes to bring success to a child, whether it's an accommodation, a modification, or washing a child's coat or sweater because breakfast was spilled on it. From the Smyrna School District, Smyrna Middle mathematics teacher, Jacqueline Jenkins.
People think I'm crazy when I say I teach middle school math, but Every day is different. There's so much joy and humor working with middle school kids. One day they hate you and the next day they want to be your best friend. So it's just, you never know what you're walking into. But it's rewarding when they come to you at the end of the year or the next year and come back and say how much they missed your class. Definitely is something you look forward to every year. I definitely implemented in some strategies I learned in a project the last few years. It's called Tuple. It's like transforming and understanding professional learning. And we were able to plan lessons together and then go and teach them and record ourselves and then reflect with each other on the lessons and then change some things and figure out how can we get the students to understand it a little better and then do it again the next year. So I've been doing that the last couple years to make our lessons better, and now I get to go teach other teachers how to do that.
Ms. Jenkins is equally impactful beyond the classroom, her principal said. She is a natural leader among her peers, regularly collaborating with colleagues, mentoring new teachers, and contributing to curriculum development efforts within the district. Her positive spirit and deep commitment to student achievement make her an invaluable member of our school community. From the Sussex Technical School District, Sussex Tech High Spanish teacher, Shayla Collins.
I come from a family of educators that dates back to the civil rights movement here in the state of Delaware. So I personally feel like it's an honor and a privilege to continue my family's legacy in connecting with students and watching them grow from young adults into global citizens that we have in the world today. So I build relationships within the classroom. I'm involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. I am the head coach for cross country, and I also coach track and field. So my students that I have in the classroom, I also see outside of the classroom as well. And I think that's really important because they get to see me in a different light. I get to see them in a different light. We're continuously building on that connection that we started in the classroom. So when we re-enter in the classroom, when students feel a connection to you, they are more willing to learn from you. And I've really seen that just on the different places that I am throughout the school and how students who might be apprehensive about something, that apprehension completely goes away and they're just really completely immersed into the classroom.
Coming into sophomore year, I expressed no interest in learning Spanish. I convinced myself that it was just another class that would look good on a college resume, and I simply needed to get through it. However, this quickly changed being in Miss Collins' class. Rather than focusing solely on the content to teach, Miss Collins focused on the students she was teaching, one student said, adding, Miss Collins was the first teacher to ever make learning feel meaningful and personal. And finally, from the Woodbridge School District, Woodbridge High Performing Arts and Music teacher, Danielle Jones.
There's a lot of data, right, in music, and it makes test scores improve and yada yada, and I try really hard not to talk about that. Not that I don't think it's true, but I think music can be so much more impactful as humans. I tell my kids all the time, I'm not teaching you black dots on a page. I'm teaching you to be human. If I can make you lifelong learners and advocates and musicians, even if it's just a hobby, I play chopstick on the piano for my kid, I think that makes us more well-rounded individuals and makes us appreciate the arts and subsequently different cultures and people. And I think that's so important, especially nowadays and in such a diverse world that we're in. I mean, really, it's all about the kids for me, and we have some of the best kids in our district. They are so kind, they're so funny, they are so willing to try, fail, and try again. That's probably the best thing about those kids. And so if it's ever not a great day, or I'm just not having or whatever it is, those kids always turn it around. They're never the issue. They're awesome. It's why we're teachers, right? Is to hopefully make an impact on this next generation. We got to make sure they're ready to go because they're it, man. When we're done, it's their turn. So I'm hoping I've had a little bit of part in that.
She is a musician first, understanding the needs of her players from a place of experience, a colleague said. Her rehearsals are warm, inviting, high energy, and productive. Students leave the room feeling accomplished, valued and connected to each other and to the ensemble as a whole. Her ensemble is a place of belonging, of mutual respect and a high work ethic, but it's also a place of fun, realism, honesty, and wit. We are honored tonight to celebrate these outstanding educators. Congratulations to all 20 teachers And thank you for the differences each and every one of you is making in your classrooms, schools, and communities.
Okay, I knew I wore flats for a reason. We had to get the Woodbridge picture. A huge round of applause for everybody. Whew. Fabulous. Love to hear the stories and the work that went into producing that incredible video. So when we think back on the teachers who have shaped us, I think we have to remember teachers who saw us when maybe we felt invisible, teachers who believed in us when we didn't believe in ourselves. These are the teachers that have made a difference, lifelong difference. And so I have a little story about that because we have a truly special reminder in the room tonight of the power of great teaching. I don't know, Colonial, you're making lots of good noise tonight because once again, I have to say something about Colonial. Amanda Kane is now a preschool teacher in Colonial's early education program. Where's Amanda? So here's this like full circle moment. Amanda once sat in a preschool classroom as a student of Delaware Department of Education's very own Director of Office of Early Learning, Dawn Alexander. So there's her teacher. And there she is right now being recognized. Just think about that for a moment. What that means to Dawn as her teacher, what that means for Amanda to be recognized tonight, this full circle moment when years ago, Dawn did what teachers do best. Dawn sparked a love of learning in a young child, and now tonight, that very same child is sitting here as an adult in a room full of some of Delaware's very best and brightest, most exceptional educators. That's the kind of full circle story that reminds us why we do this work. And I can't help but wonder how many of the students that you all are teaching right now in your very own classrooms today might one day be sitting in this room a number of years from now being recognized as a Delaware State Teacher of the Year. It's your legacy, it's your impact, it's what inspires us every single day. So just as Dawn did for Amanda all those years ago, each one of our 20 Teachers of the Year have done the work of shaping lives in ways that extend so much far beyond the walls of their classrooms. You have inspired confidence, you've ignited curiosity, you've nurtured the belief in every child that they can do more than they ever imagined. What you've done and what you continue to do goes so much further than whatever any single test score could ever show. You do so much for our students, more than many can ever have imagined. Some of the effects, some of what you do is visible and very tangible right now, and you can see it and you know it, and it's measurable. And some of it is invisible and immeasurable, and we don't even know it until years from now. And these gifts, these talents, these strengths, these abilities start to reveal themselves years from today, just like we witnessed in this full circle moment. But make no mistake, your influence is lasting in beautiful and big ways. Every single one of you is a legacy builder for your students and for our great state. So to honor this impact of your legacy building, each one of our nominees is going to receive a cash grant of $2,000. And this evening, the educator selected as Delaware's 2026 State Teacher of the Year will receive an additional $3,000 personal award, along with $5,000 to be used for the educational benefit of your students. I know cash awards like this, they're just small tokens of our appreciation for the incredible, immense work that you do every single day. You do work that changes lives. You do work that strengthens families and communities and generations to shape the future of our state. This work matters, and we honor you for it. So as we move into the next phase of the evening, I want to pause for a minute and recognize and thank our reigning, this is like the moment, like pass the crown, Teacher of the Year for the past 12 months. Shelby Borst has proudly represented Delaware's educators, and she has done this with such grace and so much passion. Every time she speaks, we are inspired by her stories of her students. She brings their voices alive in every room that she goes into. The passion and purpose. Tonight, Shelby's going to pass the torch as she welcomes one of our 20 honorees into the extraordinary role she has represented us so well. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce you to our current Delaware Teacher of the Year from the Colonial School District, Shelby Borst. Thank you, Shelby. You too.
All right. These don't get any easier, I promise you. It's so wonderful to see you all. And isn't this an incredible celebration of you, 2026 District Teachers of the Year? Round of applause for your people. For some of you, it took a lot to be here tonight. Sometimes it takes humility, and sometimes it takes a little bravery to take the next step. I know that when I was nominated for my Buildings Teacher of the Year, I didn't really do it or accept it for me. I really did it for every single student that believed in me, that felt that they filled in the application because they felt that that I was worthy of the title, right? They saw the impact that I had on my community and took time because they felt like their voice was heard. What I didn't know was that with every step I took from my building to the district to the state, the world would feel a little bit bigger and a little bit brighter, and I'm sure that you've all felt the same way. I couldn't do it alone, and you'll find that in your journeys as District Teachers of the Year, there are always people who are there to comfort you. There are always people that you are learning from, and there's always your biggest fans. And so I'd like to extend my gratitude to a couple of people who have been part of this really amazing journey with me. First of all, to my husband, who's become an expert on education at this point and has heard a lot of my speeches and presentations. He's become an incredible listener and a thought partner throughout the process. To my dad, who has been so proud of me that he's made a scrapbook of my journey. And to my grandparents and my family who's currently listening and watching from the 6th floor of Christiana Hospital, I love you so deeply, and I will never have enough words to thank you for the influence that you've had on my life. Some additional things to my Delaware State Teacher of the Year family, my 2025 cohort, and specifically to Allison May, who has put on this amazing event for you all tonight. Thank you for guiding me and being there for every flight delay that I had. And lastly, to Corey, who probably regrets giving me his phone number, our 2024 State Teacher of the Year. He has really given me so much advice throughout the process, so thank you. Being named the 2025 Delaware State Teacher of the Year, I had no idea that my life would change, despite Corey telling me so last year, and Ashley, our 2023, telling him the year before, and so on. And, well, the trend continues. And throughout the year, I was privileged enough to fly out to California to discuss educational technology with Googlers, which I thought was very cool. Repair thermal tiles on our team's space shuttle during one of the many hands-on learning experiences at Space Camp, and share the stage with my own students, celebrating their voices, experiences, and successes as co-keynote speakers on larger platforms than they ever thought possible. I made a post last week that our cohort spent the week in Washington, D.C., sharing that I find myself often reflecting and taking a step back and going, wow, this really is my life. And I'm having one of those moments right now. What I truly didn't expect is to have the world open up for me the way that it did. You see, I was once in a training where the facilitator spoke about the 10% rule. He said, well, let's say that there's 10 classrooms in one school building. Imagine, by the way, imagine. But yours is one of them. And sometimes the class gets a little bit loud next to you, and a child is running down the hallway. And despite how hard we try to change the culture of an entire building, it feels like we're swimming against the current. We cannot control what goes on outside of our classroom, but we can control our 10%. So the question then became, well, how do we make this 10% a promising, purposeful space for all students to learn and grow? And while this sometimes may feel true, I promise you this is such a narrow view of your advocacy and impact as educators. Because in an attempt to reassure us and instill confidence in our learning space, this facilitator had unintentionally confined us to a very stagnant 10%. He forgot about the ways in which you inspire new teachers through mentoring and PLCs. He failed to mention the positive phone calls home after really tough weeks and the connections that you make on Class Dojo every day. He didn't consider the students that come by to give you a high five in the morning, even when they're not on your roster. And you reach so much more than just 10%. I had a very sharp reminder of this year. And in speaking on the floor of the House, I told a story about the vulnerability that our students are feeling right now, and how we can continue to empower them. But it wasn't the roar of applause that took me by surprise. It was actually a voice behind me that said, Miss Borst, I just asked my daughter Isis if she remembered you. The House Speaker, Representative Melissa Minor Brown, brought me to instant tears as soon as she mentioned this name. I remembered her. I had her in sociology several years ago for only 2 marking periods. And she told me that Isis, this student, remembered me and told her mom that I had been one of her favorite teachers. When her mom asked why she enjoyed my class, Isis responded there was just something special about the space that made her feel safe and valued and heard, and I had no idea. And so if no one has told you today, and I'm sure that everyone at your table has, I am so proud of you. Your impact runs through the minds and the souls of every single young person that you meet. And you inspire every teacher who feels your passion. You may not see it yet, and it might take some time for you to know it, but you have changed the lives of so many people, of so many families, and so many communities throughout your career. You have been selected because you are constantly redefining what it means to be a teacher in a world that simply does not value you nearly enough. You are not just your classroom's Teacher of the Year. You are celebrated for your hard work, your passion, and dedication to students and staff throughout your entire district and across the entire state. And to the 2026 Delaware State Teacher of the Year, there is no better time than now to humanize education through your stories and to show others what connection and community truly means. I'm so excited for your journey, for you to take up space, for you to find your purpose and your joy in the whirlwind that will certainly be 2026. To all 20 of you, regardless of whose name is in that envelope tonight, You will always be your district's 2026 Teacher of the Year. I encourage you to use this year to push the boundaries of what you thought possible, uplift each other to inspire across the state, and advocate for your students and colleagues far beyond your 10%. Take a moment to accept your 2026 District Teacher of the Year title, not for anyone else, but for you, because you are so deserving of that title. Please give a round of applause to our District Teachers of the Year.
Wow, so beautiful, Shelby. Thank you. Okay, so now the real I keep saying now the moment we've been waiting for. The real moment we've all been waiting for. It is truly my honor to announce our 2026 Delaware Teacher of the Year, and I have an envelope in the back of my notebook. Are we drum rolling? What are we going to do? I'm like shaking. I'm shaking for you. Delaware State Teacher of the Year, Brandywines, Jenna Delaterio. Say a few words. Speech, speech, speech.
I don't know who came up with having to speak after such a moment like that, but I don't know. Thank you so very much. I am deeply honored and humbled to accept this award on behalf of my students, colleagues, and community. I'd like to begin by thanking Allison May and the Department of Education for organizing such a beautiful event and making the Teacher of the Year process so smooth and meaningful. I'm especially grateful for the summer writing workshop where I got to formally meet and work with so many inspiring and amazing educators in this room. To my dear friends and colleagues in the Brandywine School District, thank you for both literally and proverbially walking alongside me in challenging, joyful, and in-between times. I am always proud to be BSD because as a community we strive to serve humanity together. To my wonderful family, thank you for your constant love and belief in me, and for always entertaining my stories, well, usually, at the dinner table. A special hello to my parents who are in Italy, although they didn't even consider flying back from their month-long travels for this evening. I know they are my biggest cheerleaders. Education is not something we do alone. It's something we create together. When we intentionally slow down and connect with our students, fellow educators, families, and communities in the present moment, we can transcend all boundaries and limits. Thank you for this opportunity to use my voice. I will use it to amplify our profession. uplift the incredible educators across our state, and most importantly, advocate for every child to thrive as their full, authentic self. Thank you.
Beautiful. So beautiful. So before we close the evening, I want to say on behalf of Governor Meyer and the entire Delaware Department of Education, I want to thank everyone who was involved. Can I please have Delaware Department of Education staff that's scattered all around, please stand up. We're all over the place. They're standing to say thank you, and we're thanking the entire group of honorees tonight for your dedication. I always tell my team, maybe it's a kindergarten teacher in me, teamwork makes the dream work. And not only did Allison pull off this incredible event like she always does, but the entire department. So special thanks to everybody. We also have Daniel Sato of the Government Information Center and Dave Thomas from our team at the Delaware Department of Education to produce that video. Is that video incredible? One teacher came back to get her picture, and she's like, I made myself cry. It was so amazing. It's just such a wonderful video of the honorees that you saw earlier tonight. And to Wade Steimling of the Government Information Center, thank you for helping us stream so our winners' parents in Italy could actually watch it. What time is it in Italy? I don't know. But thank you to Wade for streaming the program so schools and communities, grandparents, Shelby, somebody at Christina Care was watching tonight, so people all over are able to join into that. Jennifer Corbett took these beautiful photos all across the back of the room here. Thank you to Jennifer for taking those photos that are displayed tonight, along with Ashley Larimore to capture the evening. Honorees, please make sure when you leave to take your photos that are displayed. That's a gift to you. Thank you again to Voya for your leadership, your incredible support and generosity for many years to this Teacher of the Year program. We couldn't do it without you, literally. And very special thank you to our whole team at DOE for making tonight's event possible and beautiful, especially Allison. You coordinated every single detail. Our honorees, you all truly are the heartbeat of this work. I know that they say not all heroes wear capes. You wear lanyards, sensible shoes, and a whole lot of love that you bring to your work every single day with your impeccable planning, your exquisite learning environments, your strong, high-quality Tier 1 instruction, especially K-5, but every grade level. You bring all of that to your work every day, whether it's in your classrooms, in the hallways, in the cafeterias, in our music education programs, in our boardrooms. You show up, you lead, and you believe in our students. And they need that, whether it's in classrooms, all over, hallways, school offices, cafeterias, parking lots, board meetings. You're leading with conviction, and you use your voice for people to understand the beauty of our profession, and you do it with unshakable belief in our precious learners and the potential that lies within each and every learner when we know our students by name, by strength, and by need. And we create the learning conditions that unlocks the genius within each of them. We see their full potential, and we need each of you to do that. So thank you. Let's close with a final resounding salute to our Teachers of the Year and our 2026 Delaware State Teacher of the Year. Congratulations and good night.